distinguished professors, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. Climate change has been acknowledged as the greatest existential threat to humanity, and it's the most defining challenge of our time. The latest Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC for short, its report, the sixth assessment report, concluded that human influence on the climate change is unequivocal. The world over continues to see widespread and rapid changes in the atmosphere, ocean, cryosphere, and biosphere. With projected sea level rise for countries like Vanuatu and other small island states, climate change threatens their continued existence. For Vanuatu, climate-induced weather events have catastrophic impacts. Recent weather events such as Cyclone Harold in 2020 have destroyed homes and entire villages, resulted in loss of life, and wiped out a third of Vanuatu's gross domestic product in just one day. Similarly, catastrophic damage has been suffered by other small island developing states such as Fiji, Solomon Islands, and Tonga. Vulnerable and marginalized populations, including indigenous people, migrants, women, children, and persons with disabilities, will especially be more at risk. There is still a significant gap between pledges made so far by states in their nationally determined contributions and the level of ambition necessary to remain well below the 2 degrees Celsius. Unless ambitious action is taken urgently to tackle climate change, its adverse impacts will catastrophically worsen. Recognizing the urgency of the crisis for the Pacific region, grassroots efforts and youth initiatives began a movement advocating for an International Court of Justice advisory opinion. A group known as the Pacific Island Students Fighting Climate Change was the first to bring the idea of an advisory opinion on climate change to the Vanuatu government. As the threat of climate change becomes even clearer, it is critical that states step up their actions to protect present and future generations. The glacial pace at which global climate action is progressing, however, shows that states are failing to meet their duties and obligations to protect the rights of current and future generations. This is particularly because many of these duties and obligations have remained vague and unclarified under international law. The lack of clarity is impeding the ability of the international community to respond effectively to the climate crisis. The International Court of Justice, the highest international court, can provide this necessary legal clarity. As the principal judicial organ of the UN, the ICJ not only settles legal disputes between states, it also provides advisory opinions on legal questions submitted by the UN General Assembly and other UN organs and specialized agencies. Advisory opinions carry great legal weight and moral authority and contribute to the clarification and development of international law for all states. An advisory opinion on climate change would clarify and develop the international legal principles relating to climate change and advance useful benchmarks. It would set out in well-defined and transparent terms the relevant duties of states to protect present and future generations from climate-induced harms. An objective declaration of states' obligation of this nature would constitute an independent, authoritative assessment of the adequacy of actual and pledged collective climate action to date. It would also recognize that climate change is disproportionately felt by persons in vulnerable situations, particularly those living in geographically vulnerable developing countries. The clarification of international law related to climate change would help accelerate state action toward effective and equitable solutions to climate change and assist in the determination of who bears the responsibilities of climate change and the actions taken to address it. It will therefore enable states to share the burdens and benefits of climate change and its resolution equitably and fairly and equally safeguard the rights of the most vulnerable. This constitutes a crucial underpinning to achieve climate justice. Fundamentally, all campaigners for climate justice would agree that those who have contributed most to the problems have the greatest responsibility to help resolve them. As we approach the eve of the 77th General Assembly, where we hope to table a draft resolution that speaks to the request we hope to make the ICJ, we are pleased with the progress that we have made in garnering support from a variety of regional and cross-regional blocs, including many individual states. Bringing a request for an advisory opinion before the ICJ is a battle that begins first at the UN, and this is the first hurdle we face. A few have tried in the past to bring climate change before the ICJ and have failed due to political pressure and other states. Vanuatu is confident that it will take this matter to the General Assembly. However, we believe the time is right now. With the climate emergency upon us, we believe we have the support we need to navigate the UN General Assembly and take the issue of climate change to the ICJ. We call on you to lobby your governments and leaders to support our resolution at the General Assembly. I thank you.